Imagine being at the peak of success. Your music is playing on every radio station. Your name is known across the world. You have money, fame, influence. People chant your lyrics in stadiums. Your face is on billboards. Your voice is unmistakable. And yet, despite all of that, you walk into a luxury hotel and realize that to some people, none of it matters. You feel the eyes on you. You hear the whispers. You notice the subtle glances exchanged between the staff. And then you see the expressions that without a single word are screaming, "You don't belong here." Now imagine that the next day you return, but this time you're not coming back as a guest. You're coming back as the owner. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? But this really happened. And it happened to Snoop Dogg. What started as a night of humiliation became one of the most defining moments of his life. And what happened next will leave you speechless. A night in Los Angeles. Los Angeles never sleeps. That night, the sky was clear, the full moon casting a silver glow over the city. The avenues of Beverly Hills were alive with motion. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, engines purring like jungle cats in their natural habitat. Luxury was everywhere. Neon lights reflected off polished windshields. Designer storefronts sparkled under elegant spotlights, and at the heart of it all stood one of the most exclusive hotels in the city. This wasn't just a place to stay. It was a symbol of status. Here, money alone wasn't enough. You needed the right connections, the right last name, the right appearance. The entrance exuded extravagance. Polished marble floors shined under enormous crystal chandeliers. Gold-trimmed columns towered over a lobby decorated with Picassos, Warhols, and Basquiat's. The scent of imported perfume blended with the aroma of Dom Perignon being poured into crystal glasses. Wealth whispered in every corner. Men in tailored Armani suits talked business over rare cigars. Women in Versace gowns laughed softly, their diamond bracelets catching the light as they sipped their drinks. It was an ecosystem of the elite. But outside, something was about to disrupt the order. A deep, throaty growl cut through the night. The sound of power. The valets turned their heads. The doormen straightened their posture. A Rolls-Royce Phantom, jet black polished to perfection, slid down the driveway like a panther stalking its prey. It moved with effortless authority, its presence alone enough to command attention. The car didn't just arrive, it announced itself. And then the door opened. Snoop Dogg stepped out, a fur coat draped over his shoulders like a royal robe. Thick gold chains reflected the warm glow of the entrance lights. A tilted cap, dark sunglasses, and the unmistakable swagger of a man who knew exactly who he was. He didn't need an introduction. His presence alone was enough. But instead of admiration, he was met with something else. Hesitation. The security guards exchanged glances. The doorman, who had been opening doors without a second thought for every other guest, paused. Snoop noticed. He always noticed, but he didn't react. He simply walked forward, unshaken, unbothered, unstoppable. Inside, every conversation in the lobby came to a halt. Eyes followed him. There was no hostility, no words, but the silence spoke volumes. It was a moment of unspoken judgment. Snoop headed straight for the reception desk. Behind the counter, the hotel manager was already waiting. An older man, silver hair, a perfectly measured smile, a posture practiced over decades of dealing with the rich and famous. He had seen celebrities before, but this was different. Because even before Snoop spoke, the manager knew exactly what was about to happen. And he was prepared. "Good evening, sir. How may I assist you?" Snoop slowly removed his sunglasses, revealing a gaze as sharp as a blade. "Lady, I have a suite reserved." The manager tapped his keyboard, paused, then looked up with the same controlled smile. "I'm terribly sorry, sir, but it appears we've had a booking issue. We're completely full tonight." For a moment, time seemed to freeze. Snoop's expression didn't change, but the air around him did. It was subtle, a tension that didn't need words to be understood. He raised an eyebrow. "That's interesting. My team made this reservation weeks ago." The manager's smile didn't falter. Yes, but unfortunately, an unforeseen issue arose. We're unable to accommodate you this evening." Behind them, a newly arrived couple was greeted with glasses of champagne and escorted to a suite that was suddenly available. No unforeseen issues for them. Snoop saw it. He felt it. And he made a decision right then and there. He slid his sunglasses back on, turned around slowly, and walked out. But this story wasn't over. A billionaire's response. That night, Snoop Dogg didn't sleep. He sat in his penthouse, overlooking the glowing cityscape of Los Angeles. But it wasn't anger he felt. It was clarity. He picked up his phone.
"I want to buy that hotel."
His lawyer on the other end hesitated. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. Find out who owns it, what they want, and make it happen." "Daddy," Snoop, "you want to buy the hotel that just turned you away?" Snoop smiled. Exactly. The deal was set in motion. By the time the hotel manager laid his head on his pillow that night, his fate had already been sealed. And by morning, everything would change. The takeover. When the doors opened the next day, the staff expected business as usual. But instead, a group of high-profile lawyers walked in. The manager barely had time to react before an envelope was placed in front of him. "You need to read this now." As he read, his hands began to tremble. It was a purchase notice. The hotel had been sold overnight, and just as the realization hit him, the doors swung open again, and Snoop Dogg walked in. Same fur coat, same gold chains, same unshaken confidence. He walked up to the manager, removed his sunglasses, and said just one thing. "So, now you work for me." Silence. The room was frozen. Snoop turned to his lawyer. "Is everything finalized?" "Yes, sir, the hotel is officially yours." Snoop nodded. "First rule, no one will ever be treated the way I was last night. The ultimate revenge? Success."